Okay, meantime, we'll revise what we have studied or what we have learned yesterday. There were multiple things happening yesterday, so just wanted to check if that concept is clear. Can someone please define or explain the concept of 0 day? What is 0 day vulnerability?
I think that's the deadline or the whenever there's no time left to secure the software. Okay.
It's an unknown
Mhm,
security flaw to a
mhm,
software vendor that has no available patch yet.
mhm. Okay. Anything else? Oh, I gave you an assignment, right?
Yes.
Have you checked? Can you give me examples of 0 day vulnerability with explanation?
Yes, I have one. Like it was for Microsoft SharePoint
Mm-hmm.
2024,
Okay.
and the CVE ID was CVE 2024 38094, and it affected Microsoft SharePoint server, and it impacted remote code execution, and it was a critical one, and it allowed attackers to execute code on vulnerability SharePoint servers before patch were widely deployed.
Okay. What do you understand by remote code execution or RCE?
I'm sorry. Like I haven't researched on that
Mhm,
because I took that reference from internet, so
mhm.
I have no idea about it. So if you can explain me like what that is all about, that would be more helpful.
But
I asked you a question and you're asking me question again.
by the way, does that fall under SIEM, um, the remote access thing?
I
Like
think
No, a remote code execution is a different thing. What does the name suggest? A remote code execution. Someone who's taking a vulnerability that can take access of your system remotely and execute something like a script or a code on your device because of the existing vulnerability, because of the software which is installed. You have learned about malwares, right? You can relate that concept to malware. A vulnerability because of which a malware is sitting on your device. And now, for example, I am using a product which is SharePoint. Okay. Now that SharePoint has a vulnerability. Now, whenever you try to connect to that software or anything like that, automatically attackers they can get access to your system. Why? Because you are using the services which are vulnerable on internet. Okay, automatically attackers they can get access to your system and they can execute codes on your system or scripts on your system.
actually, I was
And
wrong. I meant to say cyber kill chain methodology step, command and control.
Mhm.
Yeah, not the
Yes,
SIEM.
yes, C2C you can say. C2C means or C2 it's called command and control. So yes, once the attackers have access to that vulnerability or your device, they can execute the command and control your device. For example, now you're using any software. Let's consider there is a vulnerability on Zoom meeting. Okay. Now how many participants do we have? 12 participants. Okay. So now all these 12 participants have joined this Zoom meeting and Zoom is a vulnerable product. So what happens next? If I am the attacker, I know the vulnerability in Zoom. I know you guys are using Zoom meeting. I can try to exploit that vulnerability and gain access to these 12 systems. So I can execute anything, any script that I want. And once you exploit that vulnerability, you can control that system. You can execute any command, you can shut down, reboot, reset, format, do whatever you like using scripts. Go to terminal, execute that script. That's it. Control that system. There is a interesting topic known as metasploit, which you will be learning in your second class going down the line somewhere, where you will be exploiting some known vulnerabilities and gain access to the system. Root access. You know the difference between normal user and root user, right? So a root access can be gained because of it. And once you have a root access to any system, once you have hacked the system, you can do anything with that system remotely. You don't even need to go on that place physically and do anything. Now, for example, I give you example of root, sorry, Zoom, right? If that vulnerability is exploited, I can control your 12 systems sitting at my desk here. That is remote code execution. Clear? SharePoint was one example. What about others? Any other example that you have gone through?
You're asking me?
Ah, anyone can answer. Assignment was for everyone, right?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I have got like three example, but I haven't like dig much into it. I just had the information about
Mhm.
it. So can I share that? Do you want me
Yeah,
to share
go ahead.
that? So
Yeah, go ahead.
this one is another one is for Log4Shell, and this
Mhm.
one is also the same one, RCE, remote code execution, and the CVE it was found in 2021. So its
Mhm.
ID is CVE 2021 44228,
Mhm.
and it was a critical one. It's like the CVSS is 10. So why what it did was it allowed attackers to execute arbitrary code on vulnerable vulnerable system and affected millions of applications worldwide.
Mhm. Right. And what was this vulnerability related to? Log4j.
Um, logging. It was. Let me see. So you are asking about the impact, like
What the
it's.
impact of the log4j? Now, log4j is nothing, right? It's just a name, but what does that name refer to, or where is that vulnerability coming from? That 0 day, where is it coming from? Is it
Um,
related to any language
yeah,
or
it's based like it's a Java based language
yes,
framework.
yes. It's a Java library vulnerability that was. Now, where is Java used? Can anyone tell me? It's a language, it's a programming language, right? Where is
Mm-hmm.
it used?
Is used in billions of devices.
Correct.
Um,
Or
to execute malicious code.
eh, to execute malicious code, we use Java?
Like the attackers use.
No. Well, we use Java for a purpose. What is the use of that programming language? We use it in billions of devices, but where exactly?
Web pages
Mm-hmm.
and applications like
Applications,
desktop
web pages,
applications. Mhm.
yes. So Java is like everywhere for developing applications, maybe games, any applications that you are using, all of it. That's a coding done, right? And that coding is later created, clubbed with multiple third-party resources, and then that product is developed so that you can use it as an application. So Java was a part of it, and this log4j vulnerability was discovered on the Java language. Java libraries. And again, what was the impact? Once that vulnerability was found, it could impact. That was actually the case where multiple devices were impacted, multiple companies were impacted. Uh, and what was the fix for that? Has anyone researched on it? For log4j?
So how it was fixed?
Yes.
So organizations were advised to update, um, update the mitigation or anything immediately until patching was completed.
No.
And
Network and security control fixes.
Uh, See, the point
uh,
of giving this assignment was so that you should know at least three vulnerabilities or three 0 days. Now, if I am an interviewer, you know what kind of questions I can ask, or you should at least guess that what kind of questions can come up. For example, okay, so now Suruchi, you told me about SharePoint, you told me about Log4j. Now, if
mhm,
I ask you what was this vulnerability about, can you deep dive into it? Okay, so how or what product on your uh, company where you have been working, you'll have to
mhm,
fake your experience, right? So where have you found this vulnerability, on which application, and what was the fix for it? What did you do to fix the issue? Such kind of questions will come.
okay.
So even after the assignment is completed or once the class is completed, make sure you search on it in a deeper level. Search what were the mitigations, what was the version, and what was the upgraded version. Now, for example, if the version was 19.1.1 in which that vulnerability was found,
Mm,
so what was the fix? In which version was it fixed? 19.1.2, 19.2.1, whatever it is. Just note it down, keep it with you, make it as a case study, keep it with you, and whenever you get time, revisit this because this is absolutely important question.
mm,
0 day vulnerability. Okay, I
okay.
can I can tell
Mhm,
you few top level questions which have very very high chances that this will always be asked. Now, for example, 0 day is one of it. There is also OWASP top 10. Do you know OWASP top 10?
yes.
Yes. Another important question. Now that this will be covered in your second class, right? So OWASP top 10. Another important question. Those 10 vulnerabilities and questions on it. 100% this question will be asked. It's like I am a teacher, I know what questions will be asked in the exam, and I'm giving you the important VVIP questions.
Mhm,
So what was the
So
question that you just mentioned? Just right now.
OWASP top 10.
Yeah, oh, WASP. Okay.
OWASP, OWASP
Mhm.
top 10. It's
Okay.
related to web application security. Okay. Your SQL injections, or there are 10 categories, authentication flaws, and etc. So questions can come up on that. All right, two things. One was SharePoint, other one was Log4j. Which was the third one? Has anyone or Suruchi, have you researched on the third one?
I have one if you want me to share.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Please,
may
please
not
go
have
ahead.
like complete details, but when I looked up, there was a
Mhm,
Google Chrome, CVE 2022, 1096. And this was a critical type, says confusion flaw in the JavaScript engine, in the V8 JavaScript engine, and
mhm,
in which the attackers were allowed to execute unauthorized codes and fully take over users' browser. Um, and
mhm,
they targeted millions of users. And the fix was when they found out about it, they had to do emergency patches and asked users to restart their browsers and
mhm.
update to the latest version.
Right. So the fix was upgrading to the latest version. Do you know the latest
Version.
fix was upgrading to the latest version, right?
Right.
So what was the version in which that fix was completely solved or patched? The problem was solved.
Can check the article that I read. It didn't say, but I can check.
Mhm. Okay. All right. Not a problem. So you know now at least two or three vulnerabilities that you can answer. Okay, just make sure you go through it thoroughly and make those points, make your own notes, version number, what was that vulnerability about,
Mhm.
and how you can relate it with your experience.
So,
Okay,
um, can you give us one example, like how we can relate it to our experience when we are telling that to the interviewer? Can you give us an
sure.
example?
Yes, definitely I can do that. Now, there was a vulnerability which was React to Shell. Most recent vulnerability. Okay, I'll write it here. Now, have you heard of React, Angular, React kind of things? Do you know what is React?
Front-end language.
Front-end language, right? A programming or a language through which you are creating websites or something like that, right? The component-based programming language, React to Shell. Now, there was a recent vulnerability discovered on React components. Again, this used to give a remote code execution. Now, if you see the categories, React to Shell, Log4j, SharePoint, most of them are giving you a remote code execution. It means logically you can apply your brain and you can understand that r- getting a remote code access itself is a very dangerous vulnerability, right? If someone can access your system because of it remotely, you need to patch it. Now, how you can relate it to your experience? Now, for example, I can say something in my resume or to the interviewer. If he ask me, can you please explain it? Tell them this was a vulnerability which was found on the React components and it allowed remote code execution. Like someone can remotely, C2 command and control your device because of this existing vulnerability. Now, where have you seen this vulnerability? Tell them our clients, our customers are working on React components. They have their websites, they have their applications running on React. So when React comes into picture, definitely React to Shell will also be there, right? Tell them that from my in my work, I have seen that most of the components in React were part of vulnerable version. Now, for example, that version was 19.1.1. Okay, so during the scanning thing or during vulnerability scanning, we found that most of the components now, whenever this vulnerability came into picture, everybody knew about it that a new 0 day has come, right? So you thoroughly investigated and you scanned all your devices, all your websites, every single thing. And you found out that most of your websites or components are working on this version, which is vulnerable. So you immediately took actions, informed your managers, stakeholders about this version, and planned accordingly to move to a newer version. What will happen if let's say this is the newer version in which the problem was solved? What will happen if most of the components are still working on this one? Can anyone tell me what will happen?
It will be unsafe.
You
Can
will
be
be unsafe.
Yeah.
Of course, because this is a critical vulnerability. All the 0 days are 99.9% between this range for your CVSS. Hardly any vulnerability will be there which will be below 9 or the CVSS score. So all critical vulnerabilities. And when you scan your devices, your assets, your website, you know that this range is on a higher side, right? You need to prioritize them first. So you can tell your interviewer that there were around 150 or maybe 200 servers if you are part of a big company or MNC, whatever you are mentioning in your resume. You can also tell 10, 12 if you are a mid-size or a small scale company. There were 10 to 12 servers which were vulnerable to the version. We just upgraded it, got it fixed, made sure that all the patching is done properly. We rescanned all the servers, all the devices again to check if they are properly migrated, and that is how that problem was solved. Or that patching is still ongoing. Many of the devices are still not patched to React to Shell. Some of the companies, they are not willingly. Now, for example, there is a server, it is 24, as I gave you an example, 24/7 up and running, right? Customers that don't agree to patch the server. Why? Because they think if you upgrade from this version to this version, their service will go down or something blockages might come up. Your server won't work as expected. Therefore, they always hesitate to upgrade devices. But when you talk about such vulnerabilities, 0 day, and tell them the impact of it, what it can do, that time they agree. They agree for downtime in odd hours, and that is how you have to work it. You can tell interviewers that you migrated or upgraded the devices or the software from this version to this version in off hours. You had a dedicated team of 4 or 5 people working day in day out to get these vulnerabilities updated immediately, right? This is how you can create a story around it, around that vulnerability as per your experience, and tell it. It should not be the case that you are just knowing about the vulnerability and you're talking. No, try to indulge that in your experience somewhere. That will be very easy for you. Okay, we'll be talking about many more important questions and vulnerabilities later on after the syllabus is completed during your interview preparation time. Just make a note of it that this is important, very important. So you make sure you create your examples properly. Okay, clear on that part? Any questions, any doubts? Clear what is remote code execution? Or say yes, say no, nod your head. I cannot even see you guys nodding your head.
Yes.
Yes, yes, say something.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
clear.
okay, all right. So whenever you get time, please do revisit these things again and again, frequently. And what was exception? I haven't discussed about exception. Simple explanation of exception. Anyone?
Yeah. Where like both parties, say the client and the company, they both know that there's a risk, but they
Mhm,
still move ahead with it. And
mhm,
because there's no immediate solution or fix, so sometimes they can do maybe a temporary fix and move on, or they will just wait for the fix.
mhm. Okay, all right. So that was our yesterday's topic. Today we'll start with something new, New concept which you will frequently see coming in cybersecurity. These terms. Do you guys know about false positive, false negative, true positive, true negative? Are these terms explained to you in second class?
No,
No.
not that
Okay.
I know of, no.
All right. I'll tell you. Now, this is one of the most important concept in cybersecurity because you will hear a lot about these terms whenever it comes to SOC, SIM, EDR, IPS, IDS, vulnerability management, maybe antivirus, machine learning, anywhere. Even during interviews, you will come across these terms a lot. Now, one of the easiest way to understand these terms, these four terms which I'm going to teach you today, you can remember them by two questions. First one, was there actually a threat? Write it down if you want. Was there actually a threat? And second one, did the security tool which you are using make the correct decision? Okay, I'll explain this concept. Okay, first question I have written. Second one was, did the security tool which you are using made the correct decision? So if I'll write that one as well. Wait, don't want confusions. Okay, these two questions. Now, for example, if the tool you are using, okay, for example, you're using a burp suit tool. So if the tool made the correct decision, it is true. If the tool made wrong decision, it is false. So if your tool is saying that there is a threat detected, it means it is positive. If the tool says there is no threat detected, it means it is negative. Correct? Clear on this point? If your tool is saying, if your tool is working properly as expected, everything is functional and everything is proper. If your tool is saying there is a threat detected, it means it is positive. It is working as expected, right? If your tool is saying there is no threat detected, it is negative. This is a negative term. I'll explain with an example. Understand with an example. Let's say there is a security guard standing at the entrance of your company, okay, or your building, your company's building. That security guard has one simple job. Whenever someone tries to enter your company, he has to decide whether that person who's entering into the company is a legitimate employee or he is a thief. Okay, very simple example. So on that basis, there will be four possible outcomes. Let's take it from a case study. I'll give you two good examples to understand. First one is this, a thief and normal employee example. Security guard sitting outside the company and he has to decide whether the person who's entering the company is thief or an employee. Okay, based on that you have four possible outcomes. First one is true positive. Okay, I'll write it here. Let me shift this thing here. Wait. True positive. Now, what is true positive? True positive means this is a technical situation when a security tool correctly identifies and reports the actual threat, any malicious activity or vulnerability which truly exists. Is a right case. Means if there was a real threat, your system or the tool you're using has correctly detected it. Therefore, it is called as true positive. Okay. Now coming to our example. Now, for example, if a bad thing has happened, your tool has caught it properly. Alert that was generated because of it was correct. Now, if a thief is trying to enter a shopping mall, security guard recognizes him that okay, he is a thief and he stops him properly. That person, after investigation, was found that yes, he really was a thief. That guard made a correct decision, right? This is a true positive. Clear? From SIM point of view, I'll tell you. Okay, let's say attacker has stolen your employee's password. That attacker logs in from any other country and SIM detects that this travel. For example, I am the attacker, I am sitting in India, you are a employee, you are sitting in USA, and we have a SIM solution. Your company is using a SIM solution. So that SIM solution which is implemented by your company detects that this travel is impossible. Saraswati was supposed to be in USA. How can she log in from India within 2 or 3 seconds time frame? This will generate an alert, right? According to our SIM, and SOC team will start investigation on it. Later on, they confirm that Saraswati's account was compromised. It was hacked. What was the result? True positive. Your SIM solution is working as expected, right? Alert was generated and you know that account was compromised. You reset the password, you do whatever it is. That is next course of action. But the term true positive, is it clear now?
Yes.
Yes, I've explained you with 2, 3 example.
Yeah.
Clear?
Yeah.
This might be bit difficult to digest, but understand the terms. I will explain you with 2, 3 examples each term. Okay. So if you are facing difficulty, do let me know. I'll explain again. All right. So that was true positive. Now let's go on to the next one, which is true negative. Now, true negative means this situation occurs when a security tool correctly determines that no security threat or malicious activity or any vulnerability exists, and therefore no alert was generated. In simple terms, there was no threat and the system correctly ignored it. Okay, means nothing bad happened. See, your security system was working properly, so he stayed quiet. He did not generate any alert. So the decision made by your security tool was correct. That is true negative. Another example, that security guard example. Okay. An employee was trying to enter the office using his ID card. Okay, proper formal attire. There was ID card. He had that ID card to show. So the security guard recognizes him and he allows the employee to enter the premises without any problem. There was no threat at all. That guard who was sitting, he made the correct decision. This is true negative. See, there is very thin line between these two terms, positive and negative. What you should focus on is true. Is the condition matching? Yes. In first one, it is correctly detecting, therefore alert was raised. In second one, there was no problem, there was no threat. And again, it is working as per expectation, therefore it is true. Just the case that it is positive or negative. If I relate it to a sim example, okay, let's say Saraswati logs in every day between 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. in the morning from the office. Sim Solutions tried to check the logins. Everything matches, and Saraswati's user behavior was also normal. No alert will be generated. Is she logging at 2 a.m. at night, 3 a.m. at night? No. Whenever she is logging every day at the same time or during that same time frame, no alerts will be generated. Everything is working as per expectation. So this is true negative. Another vulnerability management example I'll give you. The vulnerabilities that we were discussing. A web server was there, and that web server has all the latest patches installed properly. Everything is up to date. Whenever you are doing vulnerability scan and check that server, no vulnerability was found. That server is secure. Answer, this is a true negative. Clear? Second term.
Yes.
No, no. Can you please give me another example? I'm sorry.
Sure. That's completely fine. Don't hesitate in asking question. Okay, I'll repeat. See, one thing you need to understand, true negatives are good because tool is not wasting anyone's time in investigating any alerts. Now, for example, Saraswati or Suruchi, you asked this question, right? So let's say Suruchi developed a product. Okay, that product is a security product. Your product is going to identify vulnerability and alert to the SOC team or whatever it is. Now, when the tool is scanning for vulnerabilities, when it finds any vulnerabilities and it is correctly raising alert, what condition this will be? True positive, right? And now, when there are no vulnerabilities found, what if Suruchi's product gives unnecessary alert? Means something is wrong with your device, right? Or the product that you have developed.
Yes.
So in that case, your product is not working as expected. That is a different situation. Right now, when there is no vulnerability and Suruchi's product is saying that I have scanned the website, I have scanned the server, I have not found any vulnerability. Everything is working as expected. Everything is patched up to date. This is the true negative, right? The guard who was sitting at the company's entrance, when Suruchi is trying to enter with the ID card, okay, let's say you are a part of Microsoft company. That guard who's sitting at the basement, and when you show him that there is Microsoft written on your ID card, and when you're tapping it on that entry gate, it's opening the gate. It means Suruchi is a legitimate employee, right? When she is holding that card, showing it to the security guard, he'll allow you, right, without making any noise.
Yes.
It's a true negative, working as per expectation. That is the good thing about true negatives, that everything is working normally. Create clear?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Now let's talk about third and important term, which is false positive. This term you will always come across in cybersecurity. False positive. Okay, one of the most common problems in cybersecurity. Now, false positive means this is a situation where your security tool incorrectly identifies legitimate or harmless activity as malicious or any vulnerability which does not really exist. Now, for example, your system is saying, or the tool which Suruchi developed, it that there doesn't exist any vulnerability. Everything is top tip, everything is up to date, everything is functional properly. But Suruchi's device is saying there exists a vulnerability. There is a threat. Or this is unnecessary chaos, right? Everything is patched, everything is proper. But the security tool is saying there is a threat. Now, this can be because of any misconfigurations, or your tool is not functioning properly, your tool is not up to date. Therefore, it is saying there is a vulnerability. It's like a false alarm. Imagine you are in that office building and someone just shout, uh, there is a fire, there is a fire. He's giving false alarms to everyone, making everyone panic. Everyone evacuated that building, and later, after investigation, it came to know that this was a prank. Waste of everyone's time, right? This is a false positive. Let's relate it to our example, which was security guard. Let's say Suruchi is a genuine employee, but the security guard on the gate says, or he uh, suspiciously found Suruchi is a thief, though she is a legitimate employee. According to the security guard, he thinks Suruchi is a thief. He won't allow her to enter. That guard made a wrong decision, even though Suruchi is having a ID card and everything. So unnecessary checking, chaos, waste of time is created for everyone, right? To check if she is a legitimate employee or not. Let's relate it to our SIM example. Let's say Roshan, he forgets his password. He's an employee and he forgets his password. He enters the wrong password 6 times. He was trying to figure out, oh, what was that password? What was that password? 6 times, 5 times, 6 times. But what will happen according to the SIM? SIM will raise an alert that someone is trying to brute force Roshan's account, right? Alert is generated because of this. Now the SOC team will investigate the issue. And it turns out later after investigation that it was Roshan who attempted this 6 time wrong password and no attacker was involved. This is false positive. The late another example. You guys studied about log4j right now, right? 0 day. So there is a tool, vulnerability scanning tool. He scanned the server and he found that your server is vulnerable to Apache log4j vulnerability. Security engineer, he checked manually everything. Patch was installed correctly, everything was proper, but the scanner which you are using to scan that vulnerability, that was reporting it as a vulnerability. What case this is? False positive. Means the issue does not exist, but your tool is saying that it exists, creating unnecessary manual work for you, unnecessary manual chaos. You just have to go check everything manually. Okay, everything is fine. Mark it as false positive and close the case. That is the third condition. Why false positives are bad? Because it is time consuming. You have to do manual process in checking because your tools are not working as per expectation, right? Imagine when you receive 10,000 alerts every day, you're sitting in that position on that in front of that desk, in front of that monitor, and investigating 10,000 alerts every day, and half of them are mere nonsense alerts. They don't even exist. It's like a headache for you, right? Only 50 or half of them are real. Maximum of them are false positives. So, being a SOC analyst, you will spend most of your time investigating such issues which doesn't even exist, just to make sure that your company is safe. Because it's a wasted effort, right? You're increasing operational cost. There is a delay in responding to real incidents. Now, for example, there are 10 10 alerts in front of you. You're a SOC analyst. There are 10 total alerts, and out of which only 2 are real, 8 of them are false positive. So you are wasting your time in solving this 8. Meantime, this 2 is being delayed, right? Because you're investigating your time in this, you're investing your time in this, which was a false positive. This error can come up because of anything. It's false positive. Your tools are not properly configured, environmental issues, cause can be anything. At the end, this is a false situation. Clear on this part?
Yes.
What about others? Are you there? Are you sleeping? Where are you guys? Manju, Pawan, Samjana,
Good, good.
Prabhim, are you guys there?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Aga, you joined late today?
Yes, sir. I just joined.
Okay, but did you understand this term?
Yes. False positive and true negative.
Yes. Okay. And last category that you have now is false negative. This is considered as one of the most, not one of the most, this is considered as the most dangerous situation. False negative. Let me draw that danger alert signal in front of it so that you guys remember this chart. This is that danger sign, right? So this is the most dangerous situation. Why? Because false negative, this situation occurs when your security tool fails to detect or report the actual threat. It fails to detect any malicious activity that truly exists. For example, the Log4j thing that we were discussing. Suruchi developed a product, but that product, that security tool which she developed, is not detecting Log4j, and it is sitting in your environment. Suruchi and her tool thinks everything is working fine. There is no vulnerability detected. We are all safe. But this can be a false negative. Her tool can fail to detect situations, to threats, to malicious activity. So, in simple words, this term false negative means a real threat exists and your security tool completely misses it. No alert is generated. Means the attack is happening and your security tool never notices it. This is the real threat. Let's relate it to our security guard example. A thief is entering that shopping mall and your security guard is thinking he looks like a normal person. He's allowing that thief to enter. That thief enters into that company without being stopped. The guard, who was your security person there, he failed to detect the threat. This situation is false negative. Let's relate it to our SIM example. An attacker, he tries to steal your employee's credential. Okay, let's say Aga was an employee. Attacker, he stole Aga's credential. Attacker logs in during office hours, during off hours, through Aga's account, and your SIM solution is not detecting anything. Is not finding anything unusual. No alerts are getting generated. Weeks, months later, somewhere, investigators they find that confidential data was stolen from Aga's account. Attack has happened. Then you come to know, oh, the SIM solution was not working. SIM completely missed it. That Aga's account was compromised. This situation is false negative. Now, this is dangerous because false negative is dangerous because it creates a false sense of security. Organizations they believe everything is safe. Meanwhile, attackers they are just sipping a cup of coffee, enjoying. They are already inside your network. So these false negatives can lead to ransomware attack, financial losses, compliance violations, and most importantly, who's affected? Customers. Customers can lose trust, right? For example, if there is a company called TCS, everybody knows about it, right? TCS. And there is a company called Microsoft. Everybody knows about Microsoft. So this Microsoft company says, I will give my products for handling to TCS. This is a product-based company. This is a service-based company. Microsoft decides to launch a new product and it tells TCS, he gives contracts to TCS. TCS will be like, okay, I'll take this contract at XYZ amount. I'll work on it. So now TCS is managing security for Microsoft. But the tools which are being used by TCS, They are not functioning properly. There are so many false negatives. And because of this, Microsoft issues are not getting detected properly. TCS is telling them everything is safe, everything is working as expectation, but one day Microsoft is under attack. Who will Microsoft blame? TCS, right? The products are not working properly. So Microsoft will lose trust on TCS. So the customers, they lose trust because of false negative, because things in your environment are not working properly. Clear? What is false negative? Why is it dangerous? Yes, no,
Yes.
yes. Makes sense. All these
Yes.
four terms.
Yes.
Do you want me to give you another example, like a technical example, which you can talk about it in your interviews? Now, of course, you cannot talk about security guards and employees entering your system or your company, right? As an example.
Mhm.
Do you want a proper legitimate example which you can understand or you can talk about it? This is
Yes.
an
Yes, please.
Yes, if you can, that would be great.
yes, definitely. Now, this is the example which I remember always to understand these four terms. As of now, these four terms are clear to you, right? Now, after this example, I hope it will be cent% clear to you. Any doubts so far? I'll explain example. It will be clear. As of now, anything you want to ask between these four things? Or let's do one thing. Let me explain that example first, then we'll jump on to doubts. Let me remember that example first. Wait. Let me remove unnecessary things. I'll write it here. Okay. Three terms. There is a file. There is antivirus. There is a malware. Okay. I am now playing around these three things. Do you guys know what is a file? You know, right? Since you're using computers, you know what is a file. You have studied about malware. You know this is a malicious software, right? And do you know what is antivirus?
Yeah.
Anyone here who does not know what is antivirus? You know the purpose of it, right? Antivirus is like a tool, a protection tool. Now, I will relate an example with all these four terms. Okay. First situation, true positive. A file, okay, a file has a malware and your antivirus correctly detects it that the file is having a malware. This is a true positive. Okay. Situation was correct, right? There was a malware in that file. Antivirus detected it properly. This is a true positive. Next situation. A file does not have a malware, it's a clean file, it's a proper file without any malware, and your antivirus has not detected any malware. Which situation is this?
True
True
negative.
negative. Okay. So there was no error in that file and antivirus did not detect it. Means this is working as per expectation. True negative. Okay. Third situation. A file or a file does not have a malware. Malware does not exist, but your antivirus is telling that there exists a malware. Unnecessary chaos created. Now you'll have to go manually check your antivirus if that file is having malware or not, right? You'll manually check it because your antivirus is not working as expected. This is false positive.
False positive.
Okay. Now the last situation, which is a file
As a malware.
does have a malware. There
But
exists a
antivirus.
malware. Okay. Malware exists on that file, but your antivirus says there does not exist any malware. Critical situation, dangerous situation. This is false negative. Is this clear now? All the terms?
Yes.
I've given lot of examples. Still any doubts, any confusions? There is, I know, there is a very thin line between these four terms. So you need to write these examples down somewhere where you will understand. Okay, because day in, day out, you have to troubleshoot these things. And you have to make sure this thing doesn't occur in your organization. These are general situations. They'll always be there. This is as per expectation. True means it is working as per expectation, but false. These are headaches. Okay. Now tell me if you have any doubt, any confusion in understanding this. Anything that you want me to repeat in this. All clear, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see if you have understood it properly. I'll give you some questions. You'll have to answer them. Okay. Let's say a hacker successfully install a ransomware on a computer, but antivirus never detects it. What situation is it?
False negative.
False
False
negative.
negative.
Okay, that's correct. Next question. A vulnerability scanner scans a fully patched server and reports no vulnerabilities. The server is actually secure. Which of the following is this?
True positive.
True negative.
See, now I'm getting two answers. I'll
True
repeat the
negative.
question. I'll repeat the question. A vulnerability scanner scans a fully patched server and reports no vulnerabilities. The server is actually secure. Which situation is this?
True
True
negative.
True
negative.
negative.
It's true negative. Okay, because there was no vulnerability, scanner did not detect it. An antivirus, next question, okay? An antivirus detects a virus. After investigation, the file was actually malicious. Which
True
situation is
positive.
True
this?
positive.
Positive.
True positive. Okay, next question. A SIM raises an alert because employee entered wrong password 5 times. After investigation, it shows that employee forgot the password. What category is it?
False positive.
False positive.
Okay, same example which I gave on Roshan, right? And that same example this was. Okay, next question. A hacker steals customer data, but the SIM solution which you are using never generates any alert. Which category is this?
False negative.
False negative.
False
Negative.
negative.
False negative. Okay, next question. Employee logs in every day during office hours. SIM does not generate any alert because everything is normal. Which category is this?
True
True
positive.
negative.
True.
True negative.
Oh, negative. Right.
Okay. One last question. A vulnerability scanner reports a vulnerability. After a manual verification, that server was already patched. What category is this?
False positive.
False positive. Clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.